When it comes to sports, you look for any advantage that you can possibly get your hands on. Well, for the Detroit Lions, as they get ready for their primetime bout against the Seahawks, they just got a massive one. We're going to talk about it, so stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5 end zone touchdown Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions fans, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. My friends, I'm telling you this right now. I'm absolutely enjoying this weekend for a number of reasons, and I'm going to tell you why. One, I'm happy about the fact that, tomorrow being Sunday, I don't have to worry about trying to watch any other games that might be, conflicting potentially with the Lions. What do I mean by this? Well, obviously we know the Lions are getting set to play on Monday night against the Seattle Seahawks. Well, last week I wanted to watch the Seahawks game against the Dolphins to try and, get a little bit of a pre-scouting report. Only problem was that they were playing at the exact same damn time as the Lions were, so I was like, well, I'm not going to miss the Lions, so whatever, going to have to deal with that later. But in this case, not going to have to worry about that. I can watch whatever game I want, and so can also other Lions fans, which means, okay, we can watch other games that maybe we wouldn't normally watch, but we can watch them now and, kind of root for them so that way it can help out the Lions. So that's one thing I like about this. But the other thing I like about this weekend is the news that we've already found out going into the game. As I said in my intro, you look for any advantage you possibly can find when you get ready to play a sport. Whether it's, basketball, football, baseball, whatever the case is. You're trying to find any advantage. Now, obviously, you're looking for legal advantages. You're not trying to do anything illegal. Well, for the Detroit Lions, they are coming into this game, and they just got a massive advantage just prior to the game. What I'm talking about specifically is the injury reports. Because with it being a Monday night game, the injury reports come out, I think, just prior, 2 days prior to the actual game. Well, for the Lions, since they play on Monday, they're going to find out injuries on Saturday for, both them and obviously for the Seahawks. The Lions only have 2 injuries on their final injury report, which is Frank Ragnow, who's designated as out, and Rakestraw, who is designated as questionable. That's it. Even though Frank Ragnow is a big name, that's a rather short injury list. That's good. The Seahawks, on the other hand, not only is their injury list rather long, but it's also got big names on it. And it's all from their defense. That's the problem. Because as they're coming into this matchup, the Seattle Seahawks defense, it is in trouble. Because if you take a look at their defensive line and their edge kind of linebacking core, they are depleted. They've got 4 massive names that are not going to be playing in this game. That's Boye Mafe, that's Uchenna Nwosu, that's Byron Murphy, and it's Leonard Williams. These are big, big names, folks. And why are they big names? The reason that they're big names is because 3 of these guys that I just mentioned, which is Mafe, Murphy, and Williams, these are the guys that are making, I would say, a good portion of the defense's ability to pressure quarterbacks. Mafe is the lead pressurer in terms of all of their guys on defense right now with 17 pressures. Williams is ranked 3rd with 11 pressures. And then Byron Murphy is ranked 5th with 7. So the Seahawks are going to be going into this game. They're not going to have their lead guy in terms of pressures. They're not going to have their 3rd best guy in terms of pressures or their 5th best guy in terms of pressures. And then to top it all off, they also don't have Nwosu, who was their best sack, guy last year. The guy that was able to get after the quarterback and sack them. They're not going to have him either. Now, obviously, Nwosu has not played all year, so they've kind of gotten used to that. But the point of the matter is that they're missing a lot of guys on their defense that have the ability to, impact quarterbacks. Because Williams has played all 3 games this year. Murphy has played all 3 games this year. And Mafe has played all 3 games this year. And to add further insult to injury, Mafi is tied for the most sacks on his team right now. So the Seahawks are coming into this game very short-handed up front, and especially in the category of being able to apply pressure to the quarterback. So think about it, folks. When you're talking about the Seattle Seahawks just from a basic level, this is bad. Because you want to obviously have guys that can impact the quarterback. And when you're missing this many, that's a huge problem. But what also makes it a further problem is that the Seattle Seahawks defense, under, their head coach Mike Macdonald, he loves to employ pressure from multiple areas. Well, when you're missing 3 of your best guys to do that, you now have a very limited ability to do that, which now means their ability to impact Jared Goff has been severely hampered. So think about that, folks. The Seattle Seahawks defense is coming into this game, and they're already not in a very good spot. And when you think about how bad that truly is, other than just the injury aspect of it, think about it from the statistical standpoint. Coming into this game, according to the NFL statistics, the Seattle Seahawks have the highest pressure percentage in the NFL with 36.7%. Okay, I'm going to tell you this right now. I can personally guarantee you that with all the losses they have sustained on their defense as far as their pass rushers, they are going to struggle to even come close to that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, well, let's first and foremost understand that while the Seattle Seahawks have that high of a pressure percentage, I sincerely doubt it's just because that they have good pass rushers. Don't get me wrong. I know that Mafi's a good pass rusher. I know that Murphy's a good pass rusher. But let's again, like I've been doing all this week, let's take a look at who the freaking Seattle Seahawks have played this year. Broncos, Patriots, Dolphins. Again, much like I've done, I'm going to put some statistics up on the screen to give you guys an image of what it is I'm trying to refer to here. Take a look at all 3 of those teams' PFF grades in terms of pass blocking and their ESPN analytics in terms of pass blocking. You're going to get a rather clear picture here. Other than the Broncos, who are slightly above average, the rest of the teams are absolute trash when it comes to protecting their quarterbacks. Patriots are near the damn bottom, and the Dolphins are below average. Okay, folks, that right there tells me this. While the Seattle Seahawks are probable to have some good pass rushers, because I believe they are, they've been going up against some really crappy offensive lines. So think about it. It's no wonder why the Seahawks have the best pass rushing unit in the entirety of the NFL because, oh, that's right. They've played against bad offensive lines for the most part and really bad quarterbacks. Because think about this, folks. The 3 quarterbacks that they faced this year primarily are Jacoby Brissett, Bo Nix, and Skylar Thompson. Okay, I then decided to check this out. You want to know the percentage of time that those quarterbacks have been under pressure on their dropbacks are? Jacoby Brissett, as I'm going to put up on the screen, has been under pressure 46.4% of the time on his dropbacks. Skylar Thompson, in the, 1.5 games that he was the quarterback for the Dolphins before he got injured, was under pressure on 42.5% of his dropbacks. That's ranked 5th most out of the NFL so far. And then Bo Nix, he was under pressure 37.7% of his dropbacks. That's ranked 17th. So, okay here. It would make pretty much a very sound logic when you think about this. Bad offensive lines, bad quarterbacks, and then you're going to have those bad quarterbacks under pressure because of said bad offensive lines. You would then think that it would lead the Seattle Seahawks to have some rather easy wins. Because, you're dealing with bad quarterbacks, you don't have good offensive line protection, you would think that the offenses they're facing just fall apart and it would make an easy win, right? Wrong. That's not been the case. As I've already demonstrated, the Seattle Seahawks have only won 1 game this year with any sort of convincing measure, and that was against the Dolphins where they pretty much spanked them. And that was because, again, they were playing against 2nd string and 3rd string quarterbacks. Man, it's not very hard to win very convincingly when you're dealing with a freaking 2nd stringer and then Tim Boyle. Okay, yeah, you should win pretty convincingly in that manner. So, having explained everything I have so far about the Seattle Seahawks, defensive predicament, now think about this. The Seahawks are obviously getting ready to play the Detroit Lions, and our offense is one of the best in the NFL. Still is one of the best, even with its dysfunction as it currently is. Well, not only are they facing our offense, which is considered one of the best, but like I've been stating, they're going to do that with 3 of their best defensive players out, but not only that, 3 of their best defensive pass rushers. For a situation when you're coming up against a Lions offense that's as high-powered as ours is, that's what you call a nightmare scenario for the Seahawks. Here's why. First and foremost, let's think about this, and let's put this into the proper context and perspective in which it needs to be put. Jared Goff is going to feast, and I sincerely believe that. First and foremost, I already talked about the previous 3 teams and their pass blocking, both from PFF and ESPN Analytics. And like I said, 2 of the 3 are really bad. 1 was slightly above average. You want to know where the Lions are? They're ranked 7th on PFF and ranked 6th on ESPN Analytics. Their offensive line, in terms of being able to protect their quarterback, one of the best. So already a stark contrast from anything the Seattle Seahawks have faced already. And oh, by the way, the previous 3 games that they did that against, they had all the guys that they don't have now, and our offensive line is night and day better compared to anything they've already faced. So that's already a big problem. But then number 2, as we already know, most quarterbacks, I would say damn near every quarterback, is not good under pressure. Hence the reason why having pass rushers is so damn critical. But when it comes to Jared Goff, when he's kept clean, dude is a damn surgeon. He is a surgical talent when it comes to tearing apart defenses. Take a look at this. In 2022 and 2023, the man was an absolute master of tearing apart defenses when kept clean. Take a look at 2022. In that year, he completed 73.4% of his passes when kept clean, had 3,600 passing yards, 24 touchdowns to 3 interceptions with a passer rating of 113.6. That was ranked 2nd best in the NFL when kept clean. Okay, that right there is pretty damn good. But then in 2023, last year, Jared Goff followed it up with an even better performance. Take a look at this. In 2023, Jared Goff completed almost 76% of his passes when he was kept clean, threw over 4,000 passing yards, and had a 28-3 touchdown interception ratio and a 116.1 passer rating. Again, 2nd best in the NFL. You want to know who he was behind in both cases? Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes. Okay, so when Jared Goff is given a clean pocket, when he's not being perturbed, when he's not being put under pressure or duress, he can tear apart defenses like they're not even there. And the Seattle Seahawks are missing 3 of their best pass rushers. And we're going up against our top offensive line when over the last 3 weeks, they've gone at best an above average offensive line. And the last 2 weeks, they've gone against scrub offensive lines. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty confident then we should be able to handle the Seattle Seahawks defense, at least from a pass rushing element. Now, let's also further go down this little rabbit hole. When we take a look at how well Jared Goff has done against the Seattle Seahawks, he has by far had some of the best performances against a team such as, the Seattle Seahawks over the last 2 years. Take a look at this. Over the last 2 years against the Seattle Seahawks, Jared Goff has completed almost 73% of his passes, over 700 yards, 7 touchdowns to 2 interceptions with a 122.6 passer rating for 9.5 an average a throw. When you take a look at all those numbers, Jared Goff over the last 2 years against the Seattle Seahawks is the 4th best quarterback in terms of completion percentage, the 2nd best in terms of passing yards, 4th best in terms of pass average per throw, the absolute best quarterback in terms of the amount of passing touchdowns he's had, and the best in the NFL against the Seattle Seahawks since 2022 in terms of passer rating. Jared Goff knows how to beat the Seattle Seahawks when it comes to his ability to throw passes. He is literally tops in the league in that category over the last 2 years. And then finally, we have to keep this in perspective. Jared Goff at home. Rather, I should just say, to make it more inclusive, the Detroit Lions offense at home. So far this year, we haven't seen it just yet, but that's because they're trying to figure everything out. But once they do, we already know how damn lethal our offense is. And to make my point, take a look at how well Jared Goff has done at home since 2022. Oh, that's right. He's had the 9th highest completion percentage when playing at home in the NFL in that time frame. The 2nd most passing yards in that time frame. Tied for 8th in terms of passing yards per average per throw. The 2nd most passing touchdowns and the 5th highest passer rating. Okay, and Jared Goff is going into this game. He's going to have Sam Laporta. He's going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's going to have Jameson Williams. And on top of that, Tim Patrick is coming into this game as an actual member of the final roster, not a practice squad elevation. He's actually on the roster. And he's been with the team now for going on a month. So Tim Patrick should definitely start getting much more usage now because his usage has gone up every single week. And we know how Tim Patrick can be when not only is he fully healthy, but he's fully integrated as a part of an offense. So my point is that, okay, Seattle Seahawks are missing a lot of top-end defensive players. When Jared Goff is not dealing with a whole lot of pressure, which is where they're missing their most players, he has the ability to shred defenses. So yeah, I'm already telling you this. Jared Goff is going to have nothing but time in that pocket. And when Goff has plenty of time and he's kept clean, he freaking tears people apart. Now, I know this. Some people are instantaneously going to say, well, David, that's all well and good, but what about Frank Ragnow not being in this game? Okay, I'm going to say this. Frank Ragnow not playing, that is a bit of a hurt, a big sting, pardon me. That is a big sting for the Detroit Lions. But let's understand something here. The Lions over the last couple of years, like I've said before, they've had to go through multiple situations of shuffling offensive linemen, and they've still done a very good job of doing that. As we already know, Graham Glasgow is going to slide from guard and fill in at center. He's more than competent in that area. I'm not worried about that. Now, whoever they put in at guard, that's a different story, as I've said. But I already have an idea that the Lions are going to find a way to counter that. What they're going to probably do is they're probably going to bring in extra protection on certain plays, like an extra running back. They're probably going to employ play action, and they're probably going to employ shorter to intermediate routes, so that way, potentially, Goff is not going to have to hold the ball as long. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But the point of the matter is, the Lions are only missing one player on their offense, albeit a very big player in terms of importance. But I can survive losing one big player versus 4 big players. So there's that. And speaking of said 4 big players, I also know this about Lions fans because I've already seen this comment kind of floating around in here. As far as my comment section, there are some people that have already addressed the fact that the Lions are getting set to play against Mike Macdonald. Well, why is Mike Macdonald a pretty big, worry for some Lions fans? The reason why, and I don't know why my paper is doing this, I'm sorry, but it just keeps freaking wanting to fall on over, and it's driving me absolutely insane. Sorry. Recordings can't always be perfect. But what about Mike Macdonald, as I was just saying? For Lions fans that don't remember, Mike Macdonald was the defensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens last year, and that was when we got our asses whooped 38-6. And that was largely because our offense could not do anything against that defense. Well, now I know that some Lions fans are looking at this and they have expressed concern because they're thinking the same thing is potentially going to happen because it's Mike Macdonald's defense. Okay, let me explain something here. While Mike Macdonald is a great defensive coordinator and he has a great defensive scheme, let me put some facts out here for you. Number 1, go back to that game when we played the Ravens. We were not at home. We were in Baltimore. That's a vast difference from what we're doing right now. When the Lions are at home, they're in their protected element. They have the home crowd with them. So we're already dealing with a different environment. We're dealing with a different atmosphere. So that's a massive difference. Second, let's take a look at the personnel Mike Macdonald had when he was with the Baltimore Ravens last year. Oh, that's right. He had 4 defensive players that were Pro Bowlers and All-Pros. 4 each. Think about that. Now, some of them doubled down, but it's like, dude, when you've got that many players that are that damn good, you're obviously going to have a really damn good defense, regardless of the scheme you have. Well, think about what the Seahawks had last year. The Seahawks last year only had 3 Pro Bowlers and 1 All-Pro, and one of those guys covered both. And oh, wouldn't you know it, that's the one guy that left this year. That was Bobby Wagner. So from last year to this year, they only have 2 Pro Bowlers. So there is a vast difference in terms of, talent for what Mike Macdonald has here in Seattle versus what he had in Baltimore. So again, you're not comparing apples to apples. Just because it's Mike Macdonald, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Plus, let's think about this third point. When the Lions played the Ravens had no serious injury on their defense when we played them. They were pretty much at full strength. As I've said throughout the entirety of this episode, that is obviously not the case for the Seattle Seahawks. They're coming into this game with their defense rather short-handed. And then here's the fourth point. How do I put this? This doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the Lions' defense, but it actually kind of does in a weird way. Think about this. When the Lions' defense played against the Baltimore Ravens, they were playing against their offense. Well, we know how different their offense is virtually against any other offense in the NFL. They have a very unique offense, and that's because they have, freaking Lamar Jackson. Well, think about this. One of the best things about our team is that we try to play complementary football. Well, I can tell you this right now. Our defense trying to play against the Baltimore Ravens offense is not even going to be anywhere close to trying to do the same thing against the Seattle Seahawks offense because it's two entirely different animals. And the reason I'm saying that is because the Baltimore Ravens offense is much more dangerous because, hey, you've got a guy in Lamar Jackson who, as much as I don't like him as a quarterback, he is a damn weapon on the field. Geno Smith is a fine quarterback, but he ain't no Lamar Jackson in terms of his legs. So that means that our defense is going to be able to play much better complementary football to our offense, being able to stop the opposing offense on third downs, fourth downs, garnering turnovers. Whereas in the game against the Ravens, that was not the case at all. So that, again, is going to help out our offense because the Seahawks offense is not going to be able to get as much against our defense, especially this year comparatively to what we've seen in past years. And then finally, I'm just going to put this one out there. When the Lions played Mike McDonald's Ravens last year, we didn't have Montgomery in that game. And we already know how much of a damn difference David Montgomery makes for this offense. So when you compile all that information together, is Mike McDonald something to be worried about? Absolutely. But he ain't that big of a worry, especially when he's missing all of these players and all of the circumstances surrounding this game are vastly different. That's all I'm trying to say, folks. I'm trying to calm down. I'm trying to squash people's fears and be like, listen, obviously we still have to take the Seahawks seriously, but understand how good the Lions are in a situation right now. They're very healthy coming into this game. They're getting better on both offense and defense in certain areas every single game. I think the Lions are going to be able to get a good, solid win against the Seahawks. I feel like they're finally going to break that quote-unquote, curse of the Seahawks, kind of being the fact that they're an unofficial rival, so to speak. But anyway, folks, I'm going to end this episode because I've rambled on for quite a bit, so I'm going to say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also, I want to encourage y'all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, I want to highly encourage y'all, please, make sure you hit that bell notification icon so that way you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Also want to encourage y'all to share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. The more we share it, the greater the channel has a reach, and the greater the channel has the ability to bring in new viewership. And share it, as much as possible. Share it on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook. Please share. And with that being said to everybody, I hope y'all enjoyed the content. Whether you've been a long-time viewer or a short viewer that just tuned in for the very first time, hope y'all enjoyed it, and hope everybody out there has got something in their life that makes them happy, makes them smile. God bless, my friends, and until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.